The movie starts with Mike Banning, a Secret Service agent, undergoing a high-stakes military training exercise at a Virginia military facility. He goes through the building, taking down every enemy in his path until he reaches the exit, only to get shot in his chest by Wade Jennings, his former commanding officer. Bruno, the opposite team member, comes charging at Mike for tripping him on the stairs during the drill, but Mike argues that he did it to make the exercise realistic. Mike and Jennings then take a walk chatting about Jennings' private military firm, Salient Global, and the possibility of Mike becoming the director of Secret Services. Jennings asks for Mike's help securing a contract for his team to train in that field, and Mike agrees. Lately, Mike's been dealing with some serious migraines and sleep issues. Despite seeing doctors about it, he hides it from his wife, Leah, as well as President Trumbull. One doctor even warns him about the probability of some severe effects on him. Mike gets tensed hearing this, and is not keen on taking the director position at the White House. Later, at a press conference, President Trumbull lays out his vision for peace and diplomacy with Mike and the retiring director, David Gentry, by his side. Afterward, the president invites Mike on a fishing trip with the other agents at Queens Lake in Williamsburg. As they're out in the water for a fishing trip, Trumbull personally offers the director's position to Mike. Mike thinks for a moment, but then happily accepts. He then assures the president to serve to the best of his ability. Moments later, the agents spot what looks like a swarm of bats flying through the air, but soon realize that they are drones, which begin to fire upon the agents. Mike jumps to protect Trumbull from the air attack. The two jump out of the boat and into the water to stay hidden. Mike manages to safely get Trumbull out of the water before both of them lose consciousness. Soon after, two men rescue them and take them to the hospital. Due to the injuries, Trumbull ends up in a coma. Meanwhile, considering the president's medical condition, Vice President Kirby is appointed as the acting president. Leah and baby Lynn rush to the hospital to see Mike. He is instead visited by FBI agent Helen Thompson. She starts grilling him about any probability of his involvement in the attack on Trumbull. She points out evidence found in the van that activated the air attack. The scene had residue of Mike's hair and skin cells implicating his involvement. Mike tries to explain that he's being framed, but Thompson's not convinced and does not believe him. After some time, Mike walks out of the hospital in cuffs and is taken into custody. While driving to the detention center, the escort team is attacked and killed by a hit squad. The killers take Mike with them, but he ends up killing the attackers as the car crashes into a tree. Mike recognizes one of the men as Bruno from his training exercise and soon realizes that his friend, Wade Jennings, is behind it and has betrayed him. Mike arms himself and escapes. Authorities later come across the scene to discover all the dead men, making Mike look even more guilty. Meanwhile, it has been shown that Jennings is the mastermind behind the attack, and he purposefully framed Mike by planting his DNA in the van. Mike calls Leah from a nearby gas station, letting her know that he is okay and is determined to expose the real perpetrator. But the call is traced by Thompson. Leah tells him that they have been receiving death threats. Mike cuts the call short when two men try to apprehend him for a reward, forcing him to steal a military man's truck. But some police authorities spot him and start chasing him. Mike escapes after crashing the truck into the forest and eventually finds his way to his estranged father, Clay, who's been living in a cabin. Clay was a former decorated Marine who left Mike when he was young and has been living off the grid since then. Mike explains his situation to his father, though he is still upset about Clay abandoning him and his mother. At the White House, Kirby holds a press conference and announces that Mike was involved in the attack with the help of Russian government, as $10 million were sent to an offshore account from Russia. In the meantime, Jennings manages to track Mike to Clay's location and sends his men after him to kill him. Mike and Clay see the mercenaries of Salient Global approaching the house on Clay's surveillance cameras. Clay takes them through an underground tunnel. He then sets off multiple explosives around the perimeter, killing all the attackers. Mike looks at his dad and cannot believe what he just saw, but all of Jennings's men are dead. In the morning, Clay hears on the radio about Kirby's announcement. Mike then contacts Jennings after realizing he was the one who set him up. Jennings' plan all along was to start a war, so that Salient Global could get more contracts and clients. Mike and Clay then escape and drive away from the woods. While stopping for gas, Mike hears on the radio about the president's health and that he may be waking up from his coma very soon. Mike tells Clay that Jennings won't stop until Trumbull is dead. He also tells Clay about his family, Leah and Lynn. Then they split up as Clay goes to Mike's house. Meanwhile, Thompson and her agent come across the dead mercenaries of Jennings lined up against Clay's cabin. Knowing about Salient Global's past record in some cases, she starts suspecting their involvement in the attack and deduces that Mike was being set up. As Jennings gets to know about the improvement in Trumbull's health condition, he gets a call from Kirby, his secret co-conspirator, who orders him to send his men to finish the job. Jennings sends his men to Mike's house to kidnap Leah and Lynn. Just as they are being taken out by Jennings' men, Clay shows up to kill the two men. Clay introduces himself to Leah and shows his remorse for abandoning Mike and his mother. He assures her that he will protect both, no matter what. Thompson and her partner, Ramirez, fly into the Salient Global's base to confront Jennings about his involvement, but he kills both. On the other side, Mike quietly sneaks into the hospital where Trumbull believes an attack is imminent. He tricks the other officers and grabs one as a hostage. Just as Trumbull wakes up, Mike goes upstairs to have an audience with President Trumbull, but gets apprehended midway. Trumbull orders to bring Mike to him. Mike then tells everything to Trumbull in detail and how he is being framed. After hearing everything, Trumbull believes Mike and orders his release, knowing that he would not be alive had it not been for Mike. Soon, Mike realizes that Salient is hacking into the hospital's computer system, releasing some hazardous gas into the chambers. He leads Trumbull to safety with help from Gentry and other loyal agents as Jennings's men are planning on blowing up the hospital. Jennings's men find out about the entire building being evacuated and pursue them. Meanwhile, he runs with Trumbull to get him to safety while Jennings tries to kill both. The hospital ICU is then blown up in a devastating explosion. Mike leaves Trumbull with Gentry as he is injured and heads off to kill the Jennings men. Once Jennings and his men arrive, a shootout occurs between Secret Service agents and Jennings' men. Jennings' men kill almost every Secret Service agent, but Mike manages to take down nearly every man coming his way and holds them long enough to allow the U.S. federal law enforcement officers to arrive, forcing the mercenaries to retreat. As the military group takes out the rest of them, Jennings attempts to escape in a chopper, but Mike blows it up with a grenade launcher. Jennings survived the explosion, and now both he and Mike decide to have a proper face-off one-on-one. This ended with Mike stabbing Jennings and leaving him to bleed out and die. In the aftermath of everything, Mike is exonerated while Trumbull and Gentry learn about Kirby's involvement. They arrest him for treason and corruption. Clay decides to live with Mike and his family to make up for lost time. Mike then goes to meet with Trumbull and offers his resignation from the position of Secret Service Director, as he feels guilty about concealing his ailment and that he doesn't see himself fit enough to protect him. But Trumbull forgives him and once again offers the position of Secret Service Director, if he wants it. Mike happily accepts.